management strategy as laid in the House. Honorable Speaker, when you look at this debt management strategy, we talk about external borrowing as being relatively cheaper than domestic debt. And this is due to the share of concessional loans from multilateral lenders, such as the World Bank and our development partners. Indeed, 54% of the total external debt portfolio is concessional and significantly contributes to the sustainability of the Kenya's debt. Honorable Speaker, my colleague Honorable Undo is misled the public that you can do harambees to pay external debts. I think that there is no country that has ever done a harambee to pay an external debt. And I think that was just, I presume from somebody of his caliber, that was just a joke. I think he must have said it in a light touch. Honorable Speaker, there is no country in the world that does not borrow. Japan, US, any other of the developed countries, all countries borrow and they have debts. In our view, Honorable Speaker, we noted that the external commercial borrowing is relatively expensive compared to the concessional loans, as I have already mentioned. And therefore, various risk measures, including paying off of some of the most expensive loans and exploring cheaper debt instruments, such as green bonds, are being considered in this report. Following the review of the 2025 MDDS, the committee observed that the government will borrow 831.1 billion, which is equivalent to the fiscal deficit in the 2025 budget policy statement. This amount borrowed, Honorable Speaker, will be sourced from both domestic and external sources at a ratio of 65-35 respectively. Honorable Speaker, to mitigate growing risk of domestic debt interest payments and reduce the tendency of the government borrowing funds held by public entities, the National Treasury should deploy the Treasury single account for all MDS, parastatals, and public funds, as being put by various members who have spoken, among them the Deputy Speaker who moved this motion, Honorable Majority Leader also said the same, and even the members of the Budget Committee, the Honorable Makali Muli, he's also stressed this issue of single treasury account. And I think this is the direction in which we should be able to go. As we speak, Honorable Speaker, from the controller of budget yesterday, who said she had been in Tanzania. Tanzania is already using it. And so I think it's a high time as a country that we also deploy the same. And members having raised issues about transparency and accountability in the domestic borrowing, Honorable Speaker, I think the committee has already made some recommendations, among them that the Cabinet Secretary of National Treasury and Economic Planning should form a working committee to establish criteria for assessing the effective utilization of borrowed funds by ministries, departments, and agencies to establish the registrar of government securities pursuant to Section 55 of the PFM Act. And secondly, to record the debt in the register, the details on the utilization of the borrowed funds, including the set of projects funded from the proceeds of infrastructure bonds and any other bond, that so that to make it much easier for people to be able to look at the register and be able to access that information. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support.
The member for Kitui Rural. Honorable
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me say on the outset, I support the report.